All right, everybody, welcome back to the What's Next podcast. I'm your host, Levi Casada, and I have a very special guest today, a San Diego native, the founder of Costa Modern Properties, and the real boss mom, Genie Irish. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is this your first podcast?
I'd hate to break your heart, but no, it's not.
Is this your first podcast like this, though?
Yeah, 100%.
Where you get a little
This
tequila
is the first
and like
podcast I've been offered booze, and the most professional podcast I've been on.
Well, good.
So thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
So when I say San Diego native, you grew up here. Where are you from? Like what part of San Diego?
Yeah, I'm from the most southwesternly city in the continental United States.
Really?
Also known as Imperial Beach, a.k.a. IB.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you grew up as a beach baby and just everything.
Absolutely.
Nice.
You go to camp surf, you go to surf camp on the summers. Our high school had surf PE.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
So you would go off campus to go surfing?
I didn't because I had dance as my PE, but we had surf PE that you would go off campus. It was probably like first period.
How close is that high school to the ocean?
Oh, less than a mile.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Made you walk with your boards, or do they already have the boards there?
I think they probably walked there or met there from school. Yeah, it made for like great location, bad for the seagulls. Like as soon as that lunch bell rang, kids are running.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, good. Well, we're gonna dive in deeper to that, but I always like to start the show with little icebreakers. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do Would You Rather. These are gonna be fun.
Right on.
Okay, you ready for this?
Always.
We'll start with an easy one.
Okay.
Would you rather be forced to sing along or dance to every song you hear?
Oh, Levi. I'm the J-Lo. I'll do both.
I know you will. I know. That's why this was going to be hard because I've.
Oh, do I have to pick
it.
one?
Yeah, pick one.
Oh,
pick
come
one.
on.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so dance.
You like to dance more?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. We're going to go deeper than what I want. I might want you to sing to me later. But you also do enjoy singing.
If you give me like 5 more of these tequilas,
You will sing.
I will give you a grito. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, next question. Would you rather buy 10 things you don't ever, let's see, don't need every time you go shopping? Would you rather buy 10 things you don't need every time you go shopping, or always forget the one thing that you need when you do go to the store?
I would rather buy the one thing that I need.
So you always would like to remember.
100%.
Okay. So basically it's saying you're going to buy 10 things you don't need every time.
Oh, no. Wait.
So the question is, you either buy 10 things you don't need every time, and then you remember that one thing.
Right.
Or always forget the one thing you actually went to the store for.
Oh, I will.
You'll buy the 10 things.
100%. Yeah.
I feel like I do it every time, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I will always forget, and I always will buy 10 things I don't need.
I will always buy 10 things I don't need and then Instacart from the parking lot, just being like, I'm not going back in.
Have you done that before?
I did that yesterday.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Like you went in there, forgot, and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I did that. I was at Costco and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to Instacart the rest from Sprouts.
Isn't it so easy now?
Yep.
That's so nice.
It's
a different world.
It's a different world.
It's a different world. Normally you get back out and you got to go through the whole thing again, or you just remember it next time.
Yep.
Okay. Would you rather communicate only in emojis or never be able to text ever again? Ooh. How good is your emoji game?
Awful. I just discovered emojis. I'm still the last woman standing who uses like a parentheses and 2 dots for like a smiley face.
The smiley face, you still haven't?
I think it was my assistant who was like, there's like an emoji for that.
So this is actually hard for you.
It is hard. Why?
Hard for you.
Can we get some like post 1990?
I know.
Birth questions or pre 1990 birth questions. I would say, I think I'd be okay not texting ever again. I think we've lost a lot with not texting ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah. Pick up the phone. Call
Pick
somebody.
Up the phone. Send me a fax.
The fax. I love it.
Send me a mail. I'm from Thomas Brother age of real estate.
Yeah.
You were probably in middle school, but I was writing real estate.
You know I'm older than you.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I couldn't tell from the pickleball.
By the way, pickleball is for everybody, okay? Just letting you know.
Everybody over the age of 55.
We're close in age, but I'm just a little bit older than you.
Okay.
I do also have an August birthday.
Nice.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Would you rather watch nothing but Hallmark Christmas movies?
Whatever the alternative is.
Or nothing but horror movies?
Oh. Damn it.
Let's see.
What about
That's
if I just lose my
one.
vision?
I like that answer. We'll put or lose your
Or
vision.
No, I shouldn't say that because that's not nice to people.
I mean, well, the Hallmark ones are just the cheesiest. They're all the same. The outcome is the same.
I've grown in my horror film stamina because before I am the girl, like the guy I'm dating is like, how could you be such a boss and you cover your face like the entire time?
Right.
Like it's like he's and it's just like he's doing something. He's like, nothing's gonna happen. I've seen this. I'm like, but the music's changing. Something's gonna happen. But Hallmark, I can't with the like missing slipper Christmas and
right.
My dad.
It's always the guy that's helping her. That's not she's not in love with, but then she's gonna fall in love with because
he's the good guy.
It's the same.
He's new in town.
Those would be awful.
Yeah, he's a widow. Yeah.
I'm the exact same with you. I think I would do horror, but I feel like we have the same upbringing, like the Mexican culture, like the cucuys, like you'd run past like.
Yeah, fear is how we were raised.
It was like they loved to scare you, and so you were just like fear was in your blood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but as you get older, I feel like I can watch more horror films too now.
Yeah.
Okay, this one we're gonna get a little deep. This one's tough. This can go a whole different direction here. Would you rather have a pause or rewind button in your life? This one's tough. This one has so many layers to it.
A rewind.
Would you like to pause it, or would you like to rewind?
That is so difficult.
This is a deep one.
Yeah, because I am living my best life.
100%.
So a pause would be like the natural answer, but I've made many errors and sidesteps that I think a rewind, like maybe even before yesterday, if you had asked me the question, it would be in a different place. But I'd say a rewind, probably.
Rewind.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I thought about this one too, and it does go deep because if I rewound to where, like, I wish I would have finished college, but would I still have such a beautiful family I have now where I'm at, sitting here having this conversation? You know what I'm saying? Like, you rewind, you can't go back forward. Like, you rewind and you play it out how it went. Like, would you change? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a tough.
Yeah. And
how far can you rewind?
It's a rewind button. You rewind to however far you want to go. But then you got to play out your life from there again.
I think about that. And
it's the butterfly effect.
I didn't finish college either.
Yeah.
And I think about that when I like mentor young people and they're like, but you're the hustler. I'm like, yeah, but I have to work for the rest of my life.
Right.
Like, or I'm unemployable.
Yeah.
If I lose, real estate changes and I decide like, I want to go to staffing agency, they're just like, we can't employ you.
Isn't
not
that
because I don't have a degree, but because my earning potential. There's like, what was your last income? And they're like, well, you're not qualified to be a surgeon. So, and all those kind of things. So, I think there's certain things. Choose your own adventure, right? I wouldn't rewind past. I'd say like I started making big mistakes at 19, but I wouldn't go past. I wouldn't go all the way back to that. But there's certain things I'd say maybe even in the last 5 years that I would have changed. So I'm not even talking like the mistakes I made, like dropping out of college. I had like a full ride scholarship to USF. Yeah. And I ended up moving to San Francisco at some point later in my life. But I was like, if I had gone to USF, my life would be so different because I would have been around a different caliber of people in a different city. I would have never gotten married at 21. I would, all these different things that had changed the complete, future. And recently I had reconnected with my first husband, and he just passed away. But before he passed away, we had a reconnection, kind of like a closure kind of thing. And he said, thank God you didn't stay with me. You would have never been successful. Yeah. And so like, and I learned those lessons. I would never go back to rewind to erase those things because those things really launched me. Because it was like, you better get out there and grind, girl. But I'd say in the last few years as a mother, I would change certain things and rewind and take the time, because when people are like, it goes so fast, it goes 100% too fast. And recently I spoke on the women's panel for ARIA, and everyone is very transparent and authentic about everyone. There was 4 of us women, and all of us said the same thing. What is our biggest, not mistake, but our biggest sacrifice?
Yeah.
And we all said our kids. And Xandra said, I can't tell you the first 3 years of my kid's life. I can't, I don't remember what my first year of my son's life was. I can't tell you when he walked. I can't tell you, like, I can go back and jog my memory, but I was so busy building my business that I was in it, and I was going through it, and I was taking care of him, and he's a great kid, and I was doing all the things, all the best I could, but I wasn't living in that moment.
Right.
And so that's just working mom life. Right. And so I think my rewind would probably be like right now, pause would be the most, I'm living my best life, cool life now. But I would love to rewind and relive some of those moments that I took for granted.
Yeah. It's tough because I agree with you. But on the other hand, you're setting yourself up and your son up for some great success in the future. So as much as you're not gonna, like, you regret, but you wish that you would have had those more moments. He might not remember it as much. He's gonna remember what you've done for him and what you were able to do for yourself, and how strong, I'm getting chills, how strong of a woman you are, and that's a big influence in his life. So this is like a layered question. It is
100% pro and cons. And even yesterday, he started kindergarten yesterday, and on his board it says, when I grow up, I want to be, and I wrote a house person. And I got so many DMs like, what does that mean? Like, he wants to be like at home? And I'm like, no, he calls me a house person because I sell real estate. Yeah. My mom was a housekeeper her whole life, and my brother is in construction. So he's like, I want to be a house person like you and my tío Sal and abuelita. Like, I want to work in houses. Yeah. So yes. 100%. He watches the grind. I've done the opposite, where sometimes you work so hard that you spoil your kids because you're making up for this lost time.
Right.
I'm not of that mindset. Thankfully, I've caught myself in that. Yeah. Where I am also like, you may only be 4 years old, but that boy, contrary to Mexican mom life, he pulls the laundry out. He takes out the trash. He picks up the dog poop. He feeds the dogs. That's amazing. He puts his stuff away. Yeah. He picks up all our plates at parties. I make him go around and be like, can you take your plate? Can I take your plate? Because I'm trying to make up for lost time. I was like, okay, so I can't be the model of hustle, and then my kid be like lame house guy who doesn't leave the house. Right. So it's like, I'm like, all right, so I have to be the hustler, but that kid's got to beat me. Right. So I get it. And I don't mean like go back and be like a more home, but I think go back and just remember like, hey, he's only this little for so long. So like, just get over it, and that's probably an error in having children later. You are more aware of things and like the best breast milk you could ever find, or whatever those things are, because you have access and your information and
Google
and
books.
blogs and mom groups and all the things. Yeah. Yes, that's it. But I would never give up the hustle, and I would never give up the fact of what I am able to provide and build for him, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's why I love doing these icebreakers, because that's a tough question. Yeah. But pause would be great. Like if I could, because you don't want them to grow up anymore. Like there's like I have my kids, like I love, and then like where you're at now, and things are gonna change. It's gonna change, and you're ready for it. You're the boss mom. I love it. Well, that was a great answer. I love that. So let's move on, because I thought about this one today as I was driving here. Right. Well, would you rather be always stuck in traffic but find the perfect parking spot, or never hit traffic but always take forever to park? Oh, give me traffic. 100%, right? Yeah. I lived in San Francisco for 5 years, and I lived in Tijuana. Like, parking, if you can find a parking spot, it's going to be... Hail Mary, full of grace, let me find a parking space. Like, 100% parking is... Well, today alone, you're at the... When I came into your guys' parking structure, I was like, oh, find a parking, yes. Yeah. Nice. I will sit in traffic because I jam out, you zone out, you make phone calls. 100%. I got you.
except I yell in traffic. That's why I got caught behind some people today. I was like, oh, maybe I'd rather just try to find a parking spot. It depends on the day. Okay, last question. Would you rather team up with Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel?
I know nothing about those things.
You know what, though?
And I have a kid who's like all superhero, but I don't know any. Like, I don't know what that means.
It was a kind of lead-up question anyways, because they should be teaming up with you. Okay. Because you are a boss. I'm just letting you know, like, single mom, doing it all. I can't imagine. I have a partner at home, like my wife. We have 2 kids, and it's tough enough. Summertime, like, what do you do with the kiddos? It's tough. I'm sitting there, my kid's yelling, like, at Roblox, and I'm like, am I a bad dad? I actually have to work. He's like, play with me. I'm like, I can't. Let me use your phone to play a game. I'm like, I need my phone to work. And so I totally get it. You're the superwoman, just to let you know.
Oh.
And, yeah.
So it was icebreaker plus compliment.
It was an icebreaker plus compliment. Well, I'm glad you don't know either one. But
I don't know what any of that means.
That's okay. So you are, you're the first generation American in your family.
Right.
Are you not?
Yeah.
Where is your family from?
Well, I should take that back because my dad was American. My mom is from Michoacan, Mexico.
Okay.
She came here when she was 18. And she comes from a very, very small town. And she's one of 29 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandfather had 29.
9 kids.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
One of 29.
Yeah.
So all biological?
All biological, but my grandfather, so my mom's mom died when my mom was very young. She was 5. And my grandfather remarried and had 14 more kids with his second wife. So 2 wives, gotcha. 15 and 14. But they were all raised in the same house, same dad.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we were massive.
You have a big family.
Yeah. Yeah. And so she came to Tijuana first and then came across, was a farm worker for many years, and then built her life here in Imperial Beach.
Nice.
And my dad, who's deceased, he was, and that's like the opposite story where it's like, I can't even tell you how many generations American on that side. But my parents separated when I was very young, so I'm very much more, and naturally closer to my mother's family. But yeah, my dad's family's from New York, and very long lines of New York residents and stuff. Very, very all-American.
Right. Now, you have a great name. One of the best names out there. Genie Irish. Mm-hmm. What, like... Why? Yeah. But your dad, like, where's he come from, obviously?
And you kind of, back in the day, if it was like if you were a blacksmith in England or something, you immigrated, you became the blacksmiths or something like that, right? Like, so it's kind of like, according to this family tree, it was like D-Irie because of Ireland, meant of Ireland. So it was D-Irie, which then at some point got transferred into Irish. So this is like generational, like, some boat they came over, it was like D-Irie, and then it became Irish. And it's actually Genevieve is my legal name. Even on my real estate license, it's Genevieve Irish. But
I got you.
Genie Irish is just my party name.
It really is. It's such a great name. That's a great marketing name.
I know. And I almost changed it when I became licensed to use my mom's maiden name, which is Ortiz.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm never going to sell a house to a Spanish-speaking person because they're like, oh, that girl is speaking Spanish.
Well, I went in depth to find out, like, where...
You went into my MySpace?
Of course. No, but I was... but not in depth of, like, your Instagram or your social media, but more in depth of, like, where does Irish come from?
Yeah.
And so I saw, and then I went deep into your social media, and I saw your dad. And he was in the Vietnam War.
Yeah, Navy SEAL.
Really? Mm-hmm. So did he train here in Coronado or in San Diego?
It is. My brothers and I had this argument the other day because I didn't know he was a Navy SEAL, and I still don't really know if he was a Navy SEAL. I didn't know he was a Navy SEAL until he was dying, and I got all of his discharge paperwork, and I found a Navy SEAL pin and all these things. My dad never talked about it.
Right.
And my mom says he was. But my other brothers were like, no, I thought he was a cook in the Navy because he used to add milk to eggs, and I thought it was like, well, this is how they learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I understood. My family comes, he went to like Helix High School, the All-American, Navy SEAL, tattoos, blue eyes.
That's your dad?
That was my dad, yeah. and redhead background. So my son, when he was born, he was a redhead.
Wow.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, your husband's so white. And I was like, it's actually all me. Like that redhead is me. And when I was pregnant, I was like, please don't be red. Please don't be red. Please don't be red. And then the doctor, who I love, my OB, and she, like, when I had a cesarean, and she was like, he's huge. He was 10 pounds 4 ounces.
Wow.
Yeah. I went very long. And he's very red. And I was like, great. I hope he has a great personality. He's going to be huge and red. Not that there's anything wrong with redheads.
Not that I have a McLaughlin that's like
fine.
6'7". I got a buddy who grew up with. Yeah, it's huge and red.
But yeah, I was like, well, he'll be really smart.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but he's an absolute doll. Like he is a handsome boy. Yeah. But it's crazy because you have the Mexican look, and he is so fair, but he's got the brown eyes. No,
they're actually green.
Are they green? Yeah. Okay, because I was trying to look.
He's got green eyes. He actually is like a spitting image of my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that so nice? And he has his name.
And he has his name. Yeah. And so just 3 days ago, I was cleaning my office, and I found a picture of my dad when he was little, and I filmed it, sent it to my family, and I showed Billy, and I'm like, look at this picture. And he's like, who am I with? And I was like, well, first of all, it's not you. Yeah. That's your Grandpa Bill. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, that's your Grandpa Bill when he was a little boy. So he looks a lot like his steward is my ex-husband's name. He looks a lot like the stewards. And maybe, you kind of see what you want to see. You see what you want to see because of, memories and legacy. But he looks a lot like my dad. Yeah. And, and he's got a lot of my smart aleckness for his age, 100%.
How old is he now?
He's 4. He'll be 5 tomorrow.
5 tomorrow. Wow. So you guys are both Leos?
No, he's a Cancer.
No, he is a Cancer.
Thank God. Because there's only enough ego for me in this house.
Yeah.
Although he's right there. He's very. He's a vain kid.
Yeah. Does he like? You guys like going? I've noticed that you guys like going to the Padre games and any sports and stuff.
Yeah. He joined Little League, so he's been playing t-ball. We've gone to Padres games. I wouldn't say he's like the sport kid. I think that's probably lack of, at-home stuff. It's not, but he enjoys sports. Yeah. He loves music, loves dancing. He didn't inherit my necessary, rhythm.
I heard him singing on a video.
You went deep.
I went deep.
Wow.
You were trying to do a video, and he's got a good voice. He's got, yeah.
Yeah. His dad is very talented. His dad is an actor here in San Diego in theater.
Yeah.
And does voiceover work. And so his dad is very talented on that aspect. And I went to Performing Arts Elementary as well. And my dad's family had actors, and my aunt was an operatic singer. So there's a lot of talent on both ends.
Yeah, you got a lot of art.
Yeah, so it's he's got to be what I never was, Yeah. Because when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be the next Cristina, which is the Latina Oprah. So that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
If anyone's looking for talent,
just look in this camera.
Me at 619.
There you go. Very talented.
But just I've always enjoyed, all of that kind of realm.
Well, I'm going to read you because I love doing this to every guest. Yeah. Your birthday, by the way, your birthday is coming up. A couple weeks, August 1st.
Yep.
I'm not going to say your age.
40. I'll be 41. I don't care.
There you go. Okay.
So are you older than me?
I'll be 42 in August. We'll be the same age I'm August 26th. So I'm a Virgo.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to read what a Leo sign is, and it's going to show you what we were just talking about 100%. Here. Okay. When their energy is well tamed, under control, and still burning bright, they can focus it on a field or talent including music and art, and their idealistic nature sometimes drives them towards medicine and any form of selfless activity where they help other people. We'll get to that too. Guided, powerful, centered, and strong, they are the ones we can always rely on. Ready to take initiative, clear the path, and show others the way. They are leaders and those who know where they are headed.
Wow.
Is that, that's you to a T.
I'm glad you didn't read the Cosmopolitan horoscope version of
I put only positive stuff in there to make sure, but there's other stuff too. But we literally just talked about it without even mentioning this, that you got a very art background. You know, it talks about towards medicine, but a selfless activity where they help others.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate.
Real estate. Yeah.
I mean, that is that's it. That's what it describes as real estate. So where did your real estate, when did you start? You've been in it for quite a while now. How did it come about?
When I graduated high school, my cousin said to me, and I'm the youngest in my little branch of family. All my brothers are in their 50s. You know, we're like 9 to 15 years apart. So they all went to college, and I was, you know, living my life. And so my cousin, who they're like my sister, she's like, you should get into real estate. When I graduated high school, I was like, absolutely not. I'm going to be a poli-sci major. I'm going to marry JFK Jr. Like, I had these plans. I was going to go to...
You did study poli-sci a little bit. SDSU.
Yeah. That was my dream, was to be a poli-sci and somehow meet JFK Jr. And so, why are you laughing?
Yeah, Tony, what are you laughing over there? It's a dream, okay? She's going to rewind.
And had I met him, would he still be alive?
Yeah, right? She could have rewound and saved his life.
Because we had that like New York background, and my family had a lot of, you know, they sold property to the Roosevelts and all this like lineage. Anyway, long story short is I said, absolutely not. Like, why would I do that? And so I went on and made my life mistakes. And I was working at the Home Depot.
Okay.
And going to like Southwestern and getting all my GEs done. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and I quit working to take care of him during hospice. So for 6 months, I stayed home and took care of my dad until he passed away. And I didn't want to go back to Home Depot. Right. And which I love Home Depot. Shout out to the Otay store.
I was just there today. I love Home Depot.
Yeah. And it's like customer service, right?
Yeah.
And so my cousin is a ballroom dancer, and one of her good friends was an agent in Coronado. And she said, hey, you know, Linda's looking for a part-time assistant. Would you want to work for her? And I was like, cool. I've never worked in an office. I've only worked in retail, worked at Lady Foot Locker and everywhere possible since the age of 14. And so I went to go work for these ladies in Coronado, which was basically hired help. But it really, like, going back to Coronado today, it's like, God, I can't believe I was like a part of this world, you know? And back in the day, we would have to run like newspaper ads, and I learned how to use a typewriter because these women wouldn't let me use like Word. So
that was in 2003.
This is 2003. I had to learn how to use a typewriter.
Isn't that crazy?
Because they wanted me to type out faxes.
It was at least an electric typewriter, right?
It wasn't like Murder She Wrote. I was. It wasn't Murder She Wrote.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are not old enough to know what that means, you should probably Google it.
Yeah, Google that.
We're on Channel 52 on the Hallmark Channel. So anyway, and so that's how I started. I started as an assistant. And I was very dumbed down. Like, can you ask if they have rye today when you pick up the turkey? Can you make sure it's not like smoked turkey today? You know, that was the depth of my work at that point. And I was, I don't know, I was 20 when my dad passed away. So I was 20. And at that point I was engaged, or going to get married to this guy. And so I was in a transaction with this agent, and he was not giving me disclosures. And I was also a TC at this time. And I had to call his broker. And Jimmy Santangelo, they're very well-known family in Encinitas. And I was like, dude, your agent has not given me disclosures. Supposed to close in 10 days. He's like, what are you doing for lunch on Wednesday? I was like, what? He's like, he needs you. If you had the huevos to call me and like demand me, he's like, who are you? Like, how are you calling your broker and being like, dude, this guy sucks, right? He's like, he's my number one agent. How dare you insult him? But what are you doing? So I went to this meeting. We met in Mission Valley because all business happens in Mission Valley. So I went to Mission Valley as this like 20-year-old driving my Ford Mustang from Imperial Beach. And he's like, he needs you to run his business. How much do you make? And at that point I was making like $10 under the table, and I was like $15 an hour.
Good
plus
for you.
$100 a file. He's like, we'll give you $17. This is 2003.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is like pre-1099.
Yeah, I think I was making like $8 in Tucson, Arizona.
So I was like, bachelor schmatulars at that point, right? So $17 an hour to go work for Tim Scoglin, who's still one of my mentors. And so I went to go work for him. At that point, he's like, we're going to open a Mission Valley office, which never happened. And we still talk about it. So I would drive from Imperial Beach to 4S Ranch for years.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. And so I wouldn't say like my career in Coronado working for the 2 agents definitely helped me understand the high profile clients and really perfecting customer service.
Right.
Because they were like all types of walks of life. And also just like really working on my customer service and patience.
Yeah.
And then working for Tim was like the grind. So my first year, that was 2004 that I went to work for him. And we did 83 transactions, and it was just him and I, like in his home office in Forest Ranch with like a Thomas Brothers and a fax machine and like just craziness.
Yeah.
And this is before that, like the 56 even went through. So if I had to go to Encinitas office, I'd drive through like Rancho Santa Fe, and all this stuff was being constructed. Del Sur didn't exist. You know, it was really, really cool to kind of see that part of the county grow coming from someone who's very South Bay minded. It was completely different, new world. And we built, he already had a strong business, but I helped him. We learned how to build a business together, you know, like building websites and swag and ordering stationery and all those things from the beginning.
So you did that for almost a decade, kind of not behind the scenes, but I mean, you're doing
I was
all
a right-hand woman for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it was to a point where he could go on a golf course, he'd walk in, hand him a package, take care of this, take care of the contract, TC, walk the dog, feed the cat, buy his wife flowers, all the things, right?
Everything you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little Devil Wears Prada /
But you learned a lot.
I learned everything.
You learned everything.
Because he would hang up the phone and explain things to me. I wasn't hired help. I was a part of the family.
Yeah.
And so, so I left in 2007, the market started to change. And he's like, so, you know, you can take Friday off if you want, you know, because the market started to get weird.
It did.
And so I went to San Francisco and I interviewed to manage a brokerage there as an office manager, which I lied. I was like, I managed an office in San Diego. They never did a background check because they would be like an agent of one.
Yeah.
So I went to go work for a very urban company. We did a lot of lofts and back in the day there. And then I went to San Francisco, and then I stayed there and worked for another agent, and, you know,
yeah, you did. So that was Urban Bay.
Urban Bay Properties, which got bought out by McGuire Real Estate.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I worked for Stacy Martin, who is another great mentor, who a completely different model of real estate, very back into like handwritten cards. Tim is just like, that guy will school you on like page, 7, paragraph 2B, section 3.
The handbook.
Of the contract.
Yeah.
Do you know what that
contract,
means?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's that guy. And Stacy's more like, it's summer solstice. What are we going to send our clients? You know, that person. Yeah. So I had like totally different vibes. And San Francisco is completely different anyway. And so I went to go work for Urban Bay Properties and manage there and get to know that. And through that, I also did their new agent training. And, I saw the world of real estate evolved while I was in San Francisco, which is a really cool place to be, to see the launch of Facebook, the launch of social media, the launch of all of that. I remember we would host speakers to come talk to us about why you should have a Facebook page. What's the difference between a Facebook page and a Facebook business page? Like, we're talking back in the day when,
when it all started.
This was like pre-stories and TikToks, kids. Yeah.
Well, you talked about MySpace. It was right after MySpace happened. You're like, this is the coolest thing is MySpace. And now... Yeah.
So it was really cool to be a part of that, that growth and how it evolved into business, and especially real estate.
Well, that's cool.
Because now it's everything.
It's everything. Well, you've worked for some of the top brokerage. I mean, Keller Williams, Compass. And let's talk about your brand now, which I think the brand itself and how you market it, and it's amazing. It's very, it says what it is. It's Coastal Modern, because you grew up in Imperial Beach, so that's kind of that South Bay that you wanted to take on. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what was your vision when you did that?
Man, for agents that come to talk to me about going to side, it took me a really long time to launch what they call launch, because you have to commit to a brand,
right?
And so there's designers and there's creatives who come up with the names, and every week I was fed like 5 or 6 names. And every week I'd be like, nope. And they'd be like, Costa, Lux.
Do you know
Costa
some of the
Lux.
crazy names that you were like, no.
Yeah, and then I see them now, and someone else is taken. I was like, ooh, got it.
I passed on that one.
Yeah, passed on that one. We almost went with Cascade. And I was like, it's marketable. I can sell it. It's not really me, but Cascade, it's like ever-flowing information.
Yeah.
And then legal called some team, and they're like, absolutely not, because they do the legal background to make sure. It's like, I don't want to spend my life building this business and someone come to sue me to take my name, right? So they've got legal, and they handle all that. But it was like, I'm not that urban, so I can't be like too urban, and I'm not too bougie where no one's gonna ever call me because they think I only sell $1 million homes. And I liked the English and Spanish, and Costa Modern was actually one of the first few names I was given, and I always loved it.
Yeah.
And my assistant hated it. She's like, it makes no sense. I was like, absolutely makes no sense. And creative said, sometimes when words don't go together, it attracts.
Right.
In a weird way. And that's exactly what that's exactly like any real like Spanish speaker can be like, that makes no sense. Costa Modern.
Yeah.
And it was like a modern approach of real estate, but also if you know me, that I'm like a mid-century modern freak. Like if I didn't live in my Craftsman, I'd be living in a mid-century modern.
Yeah.
And maybe I will one day. So, I've done like mid-century home tours. I've gone to mid-century home tours in Palm Springs, all kinds of things. Like mid-century is my jam. So that was my background of wanting the modern part. It wasn't like cool La Jolla modern. For me, it was mid-century modern. So the back print, for those of you that want like a Costa Modern tip, the back print of my cards has a geological, I don't know, like graphic that is a mid-century print. So
interesting.
Yeah, which is also the back of a church in Imperial Beach. Like they have that. It's very like the Ace Hotel or like that white wall that you see in Palm Springs everywhere. It's like that print is what we use in a lot of our background of Costa Modern Properties.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. So long story short,
well, it describes you.
Yeah,
it describes
100%.
you. It's your Genie Irish Costa.
Costa Modern, a little bit of international, but not too international. Where it's just in Spanish. You want to attract gringos, but you also don't want to scare them away. No offense, Levi.
No, hey, 100% gringo right here. I know what you're talking about. But your team right now consists of 7 women, powerful women. Like you're an all-woman team right now.
Right. There's actually 4 of us. The ones on the site are like the back end of like the brokerage, like legal, creative.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
you
blah.
have,
But there are 4 of us. Alejandra, who's here. She says hi. You can't hear her.
Yeah, you can't see.
Monica, she may still be here.
She can hear us.
Monica, and then Marisol, who's been with me from the beginning too. So
yeah. Is
and
that how you always visioned that team?
Honestly, I've never envisioned a team.
Okay.
I was always such a lone wolf. And then I met Mari, and then I wanted to grow at a scale that I could still reach. I just had this conversation with Caleb actually at the Coronado. We all came from like a broker's open in Coronado. Yeah. And Caleb from Mission was there. And we're just talking about growing teams, right? And I said, I don't want it to be at a place where I don't know what's going on in their portfolio, but also want it to be something that makes sense, where I'm a part of their lives or part of my lives.
Right.
And I have invested interest in their success, because it's not a numbers game. And, I could go hire 100 people. That's 100 people with problems and that I have to pick up calls. I don't want to just be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Why are you calling me?
Quality over quantity.
100%.
Yeah.
And everybody is so different. Everyone serves a different type of profile client. Everyone looks different, feels different, sounds different.
Yeah.
But we are all similar at the same time. It's bizarre. Like it all makes sense when you look at us.
Yeah.
You would think, that we were all friends in that way, but we're all so different. Yeah. Completely different walks of life.
But your marketing, like I went deep. Mm-hmm. You got a great. So do you prefer, when we go back to Facebook and we talk about that whole movement here, you start on Facebook probably. Mm-hmm. Instagram, would Instagram be where you're like to market the most?
So Facebook built my business.
Right.
Because when I first started in real estate, Facebook built my business.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking ads and like funnels. I don't even know what that means, but it's none of that. It is reminding people of what I've done. And I am purely referral based for the most part. So it was reconnecting with high school people, childhood friends through Facebook.
Yeah.
Instagram, allows me to reach people through my personality in a different way that Facebook can't.
Yeah.
Because I can't be, and now Facebook has stories and stuff, but that's all stuff from Instagram. So Instagram allows me to be a little more creative and a little more my personality. Facebook is like a great, like, business card for my family to see.
Right.
And for people to kind of know a little bit of me without knowing me.
Yeah.
But Instagram is like the real deal Holyfield.
Yeah. Well, because everybody has Facebook. Like
Right.
the older generation
Right.
definitely has Facebook. So like you said, it's a business card for your family. You have over, well, I don't know. I looked at this last night. So
I could have added a few today.
probably 3,480 posts on Instagram.
Wow.
I couldn't even go that deep. Like I tried. I tried. It takes a while to get down there, but
Wow.
so that's where you market yourself. I love how you do it.
Thanks.
Do you have a marketing team?
So my old assistant, who lives in Chicago, she does some of like my very branded Costa Modern stuff. She handles
Okay.
the Costa Modern page. And she does a lot of the very branded stuff.
Yeah.
Everything else is all me. And it's always been all me. And I think that's what keeps me employed is like, you get me.
You get
and the real me. And it's not like I show up differently,
Right.
It's not like, and so it's all me, ideas, our photo shoot, props, marketing, everything has been my, at my discretion and my taste and my vision. I think that's one of the, I was just thinking about that. Was like, maybe I should do that as like a consulting job. It's just like, people don't know how to style. Some people don't know aesthetic, and
Right.
that kind of comes back from the artistic background of, performance, dance and cheer background or whatever, just always knowing how to prep for the event.
Right. It's just being you, being real.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one video I watched where you were doing a Today Live with Genie, and you're like, I'm home. You're going to get an appearance by my son. Like, it's like
100%.
you posted up for that, but that's real. That's everybody goes through that, especially when COVID hit. So did you have, by the way, I always like asking everybody this because it was such a weird time. And we're still going through it. I mean, obviously we're coming back through it, but what were the talks during COVID? Like you're a single mom, have a team. Like take me through that, like March comes, shut down.
Yeah. At that time, I didn't have a team yet.
Okay.
I think I was still at Compass for a few months.
Oh,
of it.
yeah, you might have
for
been.
a few months of it.
Okay.
The first few months, because I remember. Yes.
2019.
I remember
that was
March.
19, yeah.
Well, 2020 was COVID.
Was it 2020?
Was it 20? Yeah, because we called it COVID-19. Yeah,
or 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, Levi.
I know.
And so I remember March, whatever it was, the week of St. Patrick's Day. I remember Catherine and I leaving downtown, and they had shut, like, everyone was like, send your employees home. We were driving through downtown, leaving the Compass office, and it was like, it's the end of the world. Like,
right?
I remember thinking that, right? This is so weird. Like, where are all the attorneys? Where are all these people walking around? No one was there. And then little did I know that would change everything, where we're at now. And so pivot is what we did. Immediately, because I have this like background from San Francisco, I went out and bought like 7 URLs of Short Sale San Diego, the Ducasa, the Short Sale.com.
Did
like,
you really?
100%.
Oh, good
because
for
that
you.
was like back in the day. I used to buy like random URLs. Never did anything with them, but I was like, I want to have this first. So I was, I had processed short sales and all these things back in the day anyway. And so that was my first short sale. My first COVID reaction was like, and there was 1 week I didn't have an escrow.
Really quick, everybody thought of toilet paper. You thought of URLs.
Short URLs.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You would survive
Always.
an apocalypse.
Always.
I love it.
Well, unless there was no bidets, unless we ran out of water. But I immediately went out and bought these URLs.
Yeah.
And, then I was like, I can't spend any money because we're going to be broke and all these things. Again, head of household, single mom. But there was 1 week in it was March, I didn't have an escrow. And then after that, busiest next 2 years of my life, right?
That's incredible.
But I never took my foot off the grass. We would do these live. So Josette Alvarez is an agent I met at Compass, and she and I would do like these interviews from home, zooming and recording it and then posting on social. And then I did giveaways, and I would drop off food cards or like boost, because we're doing small business. So every Friday I would do like a small business raffle and go to a small business during COVID to say like, hey, I want to help your business. Can we give I'm going to pay $50 for whatever at this restaurant on 3rd Avenue. And I would engage in social media with that because you have to pivot. So I can't go anywhere. People can't go anywhere, but I can still go somewhere because I'm deemed essential. So I was out there being essential, whether or not it was with real estate, but I was, dropping off stuff. Sometimes I would drop off goods to clients. I was doing raffles. I was doing Easter basket deliveries, whatever people felt comfortable with, but it was pivot. Yeah. And then a few months later I was recruited aside, and then I just launched, Costa Modern. But it was it was just like a good test of like, you got this. Yeah. We'll figure this out.
Isn't that crazy? Do you think that was the pivot of where technology came into this industry? I mean, you had to.
Yeah, you have to. Everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. That's the only way you could survive was
technology.
Through the technology.
Instacart, everything. And I remember we had a mastermind with other agents, Compass agents, and we would talk and these, how different it is to be a single mother during that time than be a man who has got like the killer wife who handles all the stuff, right? These guys are like sitting there with their hairy beards and they're just like, we're making banana bread and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I gotta grind. Like I was not at home baking. Right. I had 1 week before we were deemed essential where I was like going on walks and stuff. Yeah. That's it. After that, it was hard because of childcare. Yeah. But luckily, that was one of the reasons I actually kept my kid longer in daycare instead of, I never sent him to preschool. People are like, why didn't you send him to TK? It's like, TK closes during COVID closures. Daycare stayed open. Yeah. So I can't afford for him to go to a TK and then they're like, we're going to homeschool. None of that. Right. So he stayed in a daycare until kindergarten. Yeah. So yeah, you pivot. You pivot. You're just like, all right, well, now what? Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I kind of jumped in this industry too. Yeah. I was in hospitality. Yeah. Hospitality is something that you would never think you would never have a job in. Yep. Hospitality doesn't shut down. Mm-hmm. No, it shut down. It was, So being at home for 6 months straight, my wife made me join the TikTok trend, and we were doing weird stuff that I was like, nah. I mean, now we look back, it's hilarious, but. Do what you gotta
not
do.
Too proud of?
Yeah,
is that what you were saying?
No, it's not that I'm not too proud of. It was just like, we were going stir crazy in the house, and it was, And so you pivot. You pivot. Well, that's great. I mean, you developed a great social media. I've looked deep into some of the stuff you've done. You got some great awards, 40 under 40. Mm-hmm. And you just posted that you are the Real Trends top Tom Fury America's Best list. Tell me what that means. You just posted that. That was, let's see, it was the top 1.5% of 1.6 million.
Yeah, I think that's great. There's so many top things.
I know.
I just, like, my boy Joey, who I think has been here, was like, you're number 4 in Chula Vista. He's my boy.
I love him. We golf every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, he's told me. I golf too.
Do you? Let's go.
Yes, I golf
too. Let me get the injury.
Get your
I'll get the pickleball
injury going. Let me know.
Okay.
And he messaged me yesterday. He's like, you're number 4 in Chula Vista for this other new list.
That's so great that you look out for each other.
Yeah. Do those lists mean anything? No. Is it great to be recognized? Absolutely.
Of course.
And especially as a Leo, we want to get freaking our ego stroked. But the reality is it never stops. Yeah. I'm always going to be, I could have stayed at my brokerage 5-7 years ago and I'd be number 1 in that office. But that doesn't mean when you look at who else, what's your competition? Yeah. What is everyone else doing? Yeah. That means Jack, and so does the list thing means great? It means, it's wonderful because that all adds to it, right? Someone said today, like, what do you get out of all this PR? Because I just got notification that I was invited to speak at the car convention in Long Beach. So California Association of Realtors convention in October, and they asked me to speak on a panel. And I did like a side panel. They're like, well, what does all this PR do? And I said, it's all part of, what we say in Spanish, like parte del show. Like, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's super cool and super awesome. I still got to wake up and brush my teeth and, like, go to the gym and figure out my life. I can't just be like, hey, can't go today. I'm top 1.5 of Tom Ferry's America's Best
on the trend
real estate trend. I was awarded by the county of supervisors. ¿Y qué? Like,
you know what, though? That's what makes you who you are, how great you are. And you have a great team, because there are people that see that and is like, hey, don't talk to me. Are you 1.5% of the, no, that you're grounded.
Right.
That's amazing. That's what people want to know.
That's because my family would not let me in the house if I wasn't.
I know what you mean. I totally know what you mean. Well, I mean, a lot of success that you've had. And one thing I do want to, because I do want to touch on, there's two things actually on your social media, because you do a great social media. Great. I YouTubed the Big Daddy show. You did Big Daddy Live in 2019. What is that?
Oh,
who I can't remember his name.
He just got married this week, or they just renewed their vows, I think, or their anniversary. Jeez Louise, the age.
He was Keller Williams. Keller Williams. Yeah.
Why can't I remember? Can we come back to this?
We'll come back to that, but Okay, one other thing. We're going all the way back.
No.
When we went to the Would You Rather Sing, did you make up Truth Hurts real estate song?
See, that's a question I like talking about.
That's what I want to hear.
And being in the studio just reminds me of my old times in the studio. Getting creative, right? So Josette, I've always wanted to do a rap video. And I've always wanted to do a video. And Josette's like the perfect person. So I said, hey, do you want to do a rap video? And she's like, of course. So she's, a little thuggish too, thuggish bone.
Yeah.
And she wrote most of the lyrics. I had the creative vision. I was like, hey, we should do it in a house, and we should have a party, and we should be in a club, and we should do this, and I should do this, and we should, like, the premise of, like, we're representing both sides, and we should have my phone ring, and all these kind of things, right? I did all of that part. She came to my house one day and was like, here are the lyrics. I was like, okay, let's change this and let's change that, and we kind of worked on it together, but she's definitely the mind behind lyrics, and we recorded in a little studio in North Park in, like, one day, and then filmed it. And
so that was your guys' song?
We wrote the song.
Legit?
Yeah.
Because somebody did a parody off of that song.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
what?
I kid you not.
Who?
I Google it. Yes. That's why I was like, wait a minute, was this your song?
This was like right after the Lizzo song came out, because it was like super popular.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So and a lot of agents were doing like the Call Me Baby stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's what kind of hypened it. Like, that's what kind of got it started for me, was like these freaking girls in South Dakota, like, call me baby. And but they were just singing along to a song that already existed.
Yeah.
And making it real estate. There's a difference when you have to rhyme the song.
No. You legitly did this song. I listened to the whole thing. Please go look up Truth Hurts Real Estate YouTube. Genie Irish, Josette Alvarez. It's amazing.
Yeah. We're trying to, we talk about doing another one all the time.
You should 100%.
We really should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Life's busy. Our talent agencies just haven't gotten together about figuring out contract.
Yeah, you got to call my people.
Have her people call my people.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. And honestly, camera isn't my natural, I'm getting much more comfortable. But it took me, you'd be surprised. We all have our insecurities, and so being in front of a camera was tough for me.
Yeah.
But I was like, just get over it. Just freaking get over it, and
You're
just
great.
do it. And so it was really, really fun. So much we learned from doing it, and it's interesting what people watch. So people watch you. We're obsessed as Americans or as humans.
Yeah.
We're voyeuristic. That's why reality TV is so big. That's why the Kardashians are so big.
Yeah.
And so I've gone to conventions, and people are like, you're the girl from the real estate video. You're the rap video girl.
You're the rap video girl.
Guy Gal, who is like one of the brains behind Side.
Yeah.
It was like, did a Zoom, and as soon as I logged on, he saw like, hey, Genie Irish is online. with all these agents, like $300 million producers from freaking Laguna Beach on this Zoom. He's like, oh, did you guys know Genie did a rap video? And like pulled up my video. And all these agents from like all around the nation were like, oh my gosh. It's cringy, but it's all good.
But you got to do it.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Most of the stuff we do is pretty cringy.
That's so cool. I looked it up and I couldn't stop. Yeah. I didn't know if you made it, but
yeah, we made it up.
That's
all of it.
That's legit.
The props, all that stuff. I was like, you should get the license plate. Should say like homegirl.
You should.
Like all of that stuff was like
I love
creative visioning. I if I could figure out what that title would be, I would add that to my my profile.
Yeah.
Like
we'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll think about it. So is your office in Chula Vista?
Yeah. So we're off Otay Lakes Road. We rent a space from a lender that we work a lot with, and we're rarely there, but that's our office.
Yeah. Now, do you also live there now?
I live in Chula Vista. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what is your like go-to weekend? Don't have a showing, don't have too much to do, but you love to take your, it's you. You like to go out and just like hang out. And what's in Chula Vista?
Everything's in Chula Vista.
That's what I want to go see.
I know. I'm taking you guys to Chula Vista. Everything's in South Bay. Everything you can want. We've got bay, we've got ocean, we've got paddleboarding, we've got bikes, we've got mountains, everything. And some of the best views in the county are in San Diego.
What's your favorite restaurant down there?
Just depends. So I would say I go down Third a lot. So there's Tavern, which is my usual go-to with my son because it's entertaining. It's on Third. They've got pretzels. They've got delicious burgers. Great beer list. Those guys are like beer snobs.
That's awesome.
Everything. Now they have a full bar. It's a good place to watch Padres game. That's like my easy go-to. Like, where should we go? It's Tavern. Yeah. It's like my Cheers, right?
Yeah.
Italianissimo, which is on Third. Very good, actual, real Italian food, not like New York Italian food.
Right.
Very good Italian food. And then anything in South Bay, mariscos, tacos, all of that, everywhere.
They have everything. It's great downtown, great nightlife. We were just talking about how Thursday nights, Friday nights,
Sunday night, there's live
p.m.
mariachi. Yeah. So everything you can imagine on Third. There's gym, coffee shop, nail, barber, panaderia, breweries, all the things.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you promise you'll take me?
Yeah.
Okay.
As soon as you can walk. As soon as you're injured.
You don't want to walk with me like this?
No. It actually looks like you have a little more swag.
Yeah, I kind of
just kind of like, I got hurt.
I'm the casada, Yeah.
I got hurt. This is my old gang injury.
Yeah, right.
Casada in Italian.
That's my little pickleball.
Casada is Italian. Yeah,
Casada
is Italian.
It is Italian.
What, you're trying to do the Cholo talk or what?
I'm actually Italian Irish. My mom is Pavone, is her maiden name. So Italian Irish, but then we also do the ancestry and me thing, and like now we're British.
Oh,
like forever she was like, oh, we're Italian, and then now she's like, oh, my little British, because I have a son, my wife is Lebanese, I have a daughter who looks Hispanic, brown eyes, brown hair, got the Lebanese, Hispanic, Mexican skin, which I'm glad because women like the tanning more than boys. Then you look at my son, white. Blue eyes, like, where did that come from? Like, we all have brown eyes. My wife has green eyes, but, it's my mom has the blue eyes. Her dad has blue eyes. So it's crazy how,
It's crazy how the Amazon deliveries DNA, Amazon delivery guy's DNA just...
Amazon wasn't a red eye. It's all right, our mailman is cool.
Amazon is the new milkman.
No, forever. I have been saying that. I was like, he's not my child, for sure, 100%.
You're telling me.
I know. I'm
my
telling
kids, blonde.
I look at it, too. When you took a picture with a kid, I was like, oh, that's not her kid. Like, but yeah.
And now the guy I'm dating is pretty dark-skinned. And we were walking with him once, or he was walking with Billy, and he's like, dude, people are going to think I stole this kid. Like, like, maybe you should hold the other side. I was like,
hey.
Luckily, we live in a world now where that isn't an issue, right? Or it is still, but that is, no one looks at him weird,
right.
So it's a beautiful thing, and
it's not as weird.
It's not, and Billy is very British, too, and so he just went to England for like 2 weeks a few months ago. His his dad, my ex-husband is British. And so Billy would come back and all of a sudden, like, it's not the trunk, it's the boot. Like, easy.
Hey,
easy.
Brit Mexican, right?
Yeah. Mexi Brit.
Mexi Brit.
Yeah.
I
There's
love
not
that.
many of them, so it's
There's
cool.
not very many of them. That's so cool. I was the one in the photos of like all the Mexican, like all my cousins looked Hispanic, and I was the one like.
You were the Bill.
Is this the? Yeah, I was the Bill.
Yeah.
This kid adopted. I was the Levi.
Yeah.
Like no one names their kid Levi.
Yeah.
Levy.
Levy. That's why I get Levy a
Pantalon.
lot. I get.
Like if you go on TikTok, you need. Okay, I'm gonna send you these TikTok links. It's like when Hispanic parents make fun of their kids' names, like what they like their grandkids' names. And they'd be like, "¿Dónde está el pantalón?" Like Levi, and it's just hilarious because our family are like, we're just made to rip on each other.
Of course,
100%.
100%.
So yeah,
sorry, that's so true, right? Because my brothers and my family, my mom even like mess around with me, right? Like they make fun of me and stuff like that. They call me gordito sometimes when I game with like, "Oh, mijo, te ves más gordito." Like, "Oh, thanks, man." But here, my girl is white, 100%, like red hair. Full on white German, all that, and they're not like that, you know. That I say sometimes I'm trying to mess up.
Oh,
like with my daughter.
No con las alemanas. No way.
Like no. Like, oh my god.
Well, it goes back to the horror films. Like I was scared to the bone because we like to rip on each other. Like my dad liked to scare the hell out of me, and my mom was like, why do you do that to him? And it's like because his dad did it to him, and his dad, it's like we just scared. Yeah.
Fear.
Yeah, it's fear.
It is. If you're Catholic, your fear and guilt is where we are bred in.
The Exorcist scares me more than anything, any movie out there.
Me too.
Give me a serial killer. I'm like, serial killers, whatever. The Exorcist, on the other hand,
La Llorona was really, like, I was really afraid of that.
Yeah.
La Llorona, I was really scared of that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, it's
it all works though. I use it all the time. El Cucuy.
The cucuy, yeah.
El cucuy.
That George Lopez where you run past the light switch and you try to hit the light switch on and you just like, the cucuy will get you. Yeah. Oh man, that's my favorite. That we grew up the same. I love it. Okay, so I always like to finish the podcast with a fun segment. Finish the sentence. No wrong answer. Whatever comes to mind. Okay? You ready for this? Okay. I can't believe I actually blank when I was younger. It's always a hard one. I can't believe I actually blank when I was younger.
Give her an example.
Yeah.
Well, I always give this, but everybody looks at me like, God, you're a terrible person.
Oh, my God.
I know.
What could you
But this is before Uber and stuff. I can't believe I used to drive drunk when I was younger. I mean, that's pretty easy.
It's awful.
That's awful. See, that's everybody. But I did. Like, that was, I can't, but I look back and I'm like, damn.
Well,
probably shouldn't have done that.
And you probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah. And I shouldn't say that. Well, now, it's a lot easier.
It sounds awful now, but
we grew up at the same time.
All of us.
Back in
everybody
the day,
did.
that was very common.
Well, then I talked to my dad, and my dad's like, "You did that?" He goes, "I did a lot worse." Like it gets, it's definitely worse than that. Yeah. But that's all I can think of is, when I was younger. And we also grew up in the era where it was like, hey, well, I'll see you before the sun comes down, sort of thing. So there was a lot of things that could have gone wrong.
Oh, I can't believe that I used to walk across to TJ with no game plan of how I was going to get home and lie to my mom and be like, oh, yeah, but, Carlos's brother, and she was never like, who's Carlos's brother? Carlos's brother's going to give us a ride home. And because it was normal. Like, when I grew up, my family lives in Tijuana, and I grew up a lot there. Shout out to La Colonia Libertad. And I lived there at some point. And so it was normal for me. But when I would go take my American friends, and we'd go, like, party in Revolution, we were, like, 16, and I had, like, a fake ID, not that they ever checked. But I can't believe the things I would do. Yeah. I was like, get drunk, $5 all you can drink.
How old were you?
Oh, since I was, like, 15. Easily. We'd go to quinceañeras, drink, Revolution. That's part of the reasons why I dropped out of college. So at San Diego State, I used to run a bus that would pick up from the dorms and drive us to the border. And I would organize it.
That a girl.
Yeah.
You were already business driven. Yeah. You're business driven.
So Wednesdays was college night at Safari. So yeah, it was Thursday poli-sci.
Can I rewind with you? Can I rewind back in time with you?
And it's funny because I visit. I went to Revolution the other day, and I was like, damn, if those walls could talk. Right. And how did I not get murdered? How did I not get an STD? How did I, all these things that
guardian angels out there.
How did I not drink a syringe?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so many things that, you know.
That you fear for now, especially being a mom or, you know.
Yeah, but I also want, and then I would want my son to experience the same thing in a different capacity. You know, now he has the phone. I didn't have a phone.
No.
I went backpacking at 19 in Europe without a phone.
Yeah.
And my assistant was like, how did you know where to stay? I was like, this is like pre-TripAdvisor. Yeah. We had a book. And
you had a card.
Yeah.
A prepaid card.
Yep.
That you had to dial 30 numbers to get to the U.S.
Yeah, or go to an internet cafe. And she was like, what's an internet cafe? And I was like, yeah, because that's what we're talking about.
Right.
So we had a Eurail pass. I had a backpack. I slept in beaches. I slept in parks. I was just, you know, but our kids were different. Kids are different because I was responsible-ish, minus these errors, responsible-ish enough to be mature to like know how to watch my back. That's probably also growing up in this, you know, border town is like, you know who's looking you the wrong way. You know what alleys not to walk by. You're not going to walk with your freaking purse on your shoulder, like boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And that was just how I was always at. I was always as a young age.
Be aware.
Be aware.
Be aware. Okay, here's the next one. I laugh when.
I laugh when I make a joke.
What makes you laugh?
Ay Dios. Nothing. I'm like the hardest person to make laugh.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You're the one friend that's just like, oh man, she won't laugh.
Oh, I laugh, but it's hard when you're the funniest person in the room.
I love it. Okay. You are the funniest person. I love it.
In this room, especially. Tony. No offense, Tony.
Okay.
I would die without
you.
Okay. You see, I love it. But that was genuine. That wasn't like that wasn't a joke, right?
It was actually a PM Don quote.
Okay.
Yeah. I would die without. Obviously, every other mom would be like, my son.
But there's coffee in the world, and there's like, what do you know?
Oh, coffee. 100. Yeah, I can go on any crazy fasting, whatever that I've done, every freaking lemonade diet possible, whatever it is, I've done it.
Yeah.
Drops, greens, colonoscopy things, whatever it is, I tried
colon
it.
Broom.
$100.
I'm on it. Yeah.
But coffee, I refuse. I will be whatever unhealthy person for the rest of my life, but I cannot give up coffee. And it's a mental thing, I'm sure, because it doesn't necessarily always do something. But as soon as I wake up, I walk straight to my Nespresso, get my cup of coffee, and then I can just do whatever else. Yeah. And then everything else.
It's just a lifestyle, right?
It's a lifestyle. It's a routine. You need it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I didn't grow up with coffee, and then all of a sudden I became a parent, and I'm like, need coffee. And then I like grew the taste, and now it's like, it's a lifestyle. You go out, you get a cup of coffee.
Yeah. You're walking on vacation, a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Will that be the same answer to you?
Yeah,
Levi?
I would die without coffee. Like, I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's other things, like people are like, try green tea. And I was like, hey. No. I've tried, I've done other coffee. I'm having a Celsius right now. Yes, other caffeine additives are fantastic, but there is something about coffee. And I started drinking coffee at a very young age.
Yeah.
Café con leche. My mom would give me a little bit of coffee. So, coffee.
Coffee. Nice. Okay. The secret to a happy life is?
Finding happiness in yourself.
That's a good one.
And drop expectations of other people.
Yeah.
So in 2019 I had a epiphany. It was like epiphany. I remember looking at my ex at that time and thinking like, God, you don't love me. And then I was like, I don't love myself. Who cares if that guy doesn't or anyone else? I don't. And it's not just, we're not talking about like body image or whatever. It was just like, what are you doing for you?
Yeah.
What's your life? Like, what are you going to do? What's happening? Hello. So it was like, shit, you better start loving yourself. That way you don't have to worry if someone else loves you.
Right.
Like,
self-sustain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like, that was a huge change in me. And in that it transformed into everything, into business, into weight loss, into schedules, into life, into divorce, into new relationships, into everything. It was just like, what are you doing to protect yourself and take care of yourself? And we, as people with big families, you also have to understand that you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You can't expect like, oh, my brother didn't come and help me move out, or my mom didn't come and do this for me, or because life happens and everyone's taking care of themselves as they should. And you have to take care of yourself. That's what I learned is like, freaking create those boundaries, let go of those expectations, and live your life for yourself.
That's a good saying. Mm-hmm. I love that answer. It's fantastic. That's where you're at now.
Yeah.
That's how you became such a strong, independent, I mean, you run this great team. That's fantastic.
Don't get it twisted. Like yesterday, I almost had a meltdown.
You got to have the meltdowns, though.
Oh, simple things like bringing Tuesdays. You put out trash cans for Wednesday pickup.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, why don't I just live in a freaking condo instead of this house as a single mom? And I was like, freeing out I was like, fuck the trash cans. And I had just gone to Costco, and my son's birthday party's on Saturday, so my car was full. And I was like exhausted, and it was his first day of school, and I had all this stuff, and I was like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with my life that I'm I have to pull out these trash cans? And I had someone came to my rescue and helped me levelly. But there's the little things that come into my life to be like, it's like a test of my will. Yeah. Instead of being the badass person that everyone thinks I am and thinking like, girl, this is one of your 2 houses that you own. Yeah. You are in this country. You are in this city. You are,
living the American dream.
You're living the American dream, the badass dream, doing all this stuff. Pull out those freaking trash cans in front of one of your 3 cars. Go for it. Yeah. That's exactly what I should have felt. But in that moment, I didn't feel that. I felt like, because happiness for me specifically is also taking care of myself, but part of I love taking care of people. Yeah. And so it's like, if I have no one, like, who do I have to share this with, Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It humanizes you.
Oh, Yeah, my family calls me J-Lo for various reasons because I'm, like, obsessed with love.
Well, it's hard because in photos you can fake everything in photos. Mm-hmm. But that's why I love this podcast, because you really get to know the person that's sitting here. Yeah. You didn't have to share that story. Legitly, like you could have been like, I'm badass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But that is always the persona we carry. And I get named and boss babe and boss mom and all this stuff. Yeah. And 100%. Yeah, because I don't have a choice.
Yeah. You don't.
I don't. I don't.
You could sit there and choose this way, or pick up your life and go this way.
I make it as simple as this. Would I rather give up half of my income to share my life with someone else, and we were like in a happy relationship, but I made half the money? Yeah. I'm asking you questions. No, and half the money, but or half the success, but I meant like I have someone that was just like, that's my person, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like I love, like, that was like my goal in life, you know, like to be like this boss babe.
Yeah, to have the money.
It's great. I just don't have a choice. That's all I know how to do. But in the people who do know me, do I take care of and cook and meal prep and drop off? On the way here, I went to drop off some fruit to my boyfriend's business. I didn't have to do that because I'm a boss bee. Yeah. But that's part of my loving. Yeah. So,
and that's why you're so good at what you're doing, because that's what you give to your clients too. Yeah. That's a big thing in client relationship, especially with all the technology and everybody's like, well, we don't need the real estate agents. Like, yeah, you do.
You do.
Because you need the people that care about you, that can relate to you, that have that same, like, even though you're a boss bitch, you can say it, boss bitch, but also have that, like, I have these emotional breakdowns and stuff like that. You need those people that relate to you and can help you through that and make the biggest purchase of your life or do whatever in your life. I mean, that's why we need you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's why I'm glad you're here. Oh. I'm going to give you one last question to end this podcast. The advice I would give a new agent.
The advice I'd give a new agent is...
Or a young agent.
Or just someone starting out.
Someone starting out.
That you work this job like you would any other job. You show up and you work every day. Yeah. That's what I tell people is like, don't get caught up in going to open house and, you know, going to a broker's tour and then having lunch and then you're at Puesto and then you're ending the night at Karina's. That's not working.
Right.
You have to grind. I sacrificed a lot for 5 years. I missed parties. I missed out on taking care of myself physically, emotionally, just to build a business.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do to sustain, because you have to build a book of business to keep moving for the forward years.
Right.
So if you are not willing to grind, then you should be willing to either sacrifice some income, in the sense like make sure your grind matches what you want.
Right.
And that's the thing. All of us have different goals, right? If you only want to make 100,000, fantastic. You probably only have to sell like 15 homes or 20 homes, depending on the price point. So make sure all of those activities match that grind. But if you want to make 500,000, what are you doing? You can't do those activities that you're doing for the 15 homes.
Yeah.
You got to triple that.
Yeah.
And then some. So you got to make sure your grind matches what your goals are and keep doing it until the wheels fall off. And even when the wheels fall off, you still keep doing it, because that's how I am. You know, it's like, regardless of where I'm at, regardless if I have an assistant, regardless if I'm in labor or I'm sick or whatever it is, I am always working.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the hustle.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is like, agents do not get sucked into this freaking social media, hiding behind a screen. Get out and meet people, shake hands, kiss babies, make phone calls, go to things, educate yourself, go talk to people in their homes. You know, you can't lease a Lamborghini and live at your mom's house and think you're going to sell real estate long term.
Anybody can afford expensive cars.
But we live in the world, back to this why we're even here.
Yeah.
We live in this world of social media and false perception. So the daily activities that those old lady Coronado agents showed me what to do is what builds business, right, and sustains a business.
Right.
So your activities have to match that the book of business you want. But you also can't just live in what our business looks like right now.
Yeah.
In social media.
Well, you had a great video you just put out that was like, you went to an open house, and this goes full circle to this podcast, really, is like, you would get rid of text message for the rest of your life, is that get off, young agents, get off your phone. Engage. That's the biggest thing I think that you could give advice to, is engage. You went to this open house and you could have been, like you said, you could have been a buyer. You could have been, a neighbor that wants to sell their home. And just the feeling you got from an agent that was just sitting there being like, go ahead and look around. Like that happened like the last 2 years. Yeah, that's an anomaly. But now it's time to get out there. If you really want to make this and grind, put in the work. And I believe we grew up the same way. It's like, it's what you put into it is what you're going to get. I was born and raised in a Catholic, I went to Catholic school, and the teacher was like, hard work. The bumper stickers were like, hard work pays off, hard work pays off. And it was like inbred in you. It's like, yeah, you work hard. It will pay off in the long run, but you have to do those little things, like get off your phone sometimes.
But even then you don't, when it pays off, you still have to work.
You still have to work.
Unless
Correct.
You've made sound crypto investments that you cashed out immediately at the right month.
Yeah.
Then that's it. Like, that's the CEOs don't stop working.
They don't.
Millionaires don't stop working.
Yeah.
The number one agent in South County is still working.
Right.
She's a millionaire because you don't stop. So it's not like, and when I get there, until I retire, 100%, right? But even then, I'm not going to like completely stop business.
Yeah.
It's just, what are you willing to sacrifice for the lifestyle you want? But you got to make those sacrifices. I was just thinking about that. I almost left my purse in the car when I went to this house in Coronado, because I'm not the girl of the brand purses.
Right.
It's something about me keeps me like real, like cruising around with my Michael Kors purse instead of a Fendi or whatever. Yeah. Could I buy it? Yes, of course, 100%. But there's something like that keeps me like I be Genie with cruising around with my, non-fancy purse. Because it reminds me of who I am. And I have a ton of fake purses, which also reminds me who I am too, because I'm just like living in this little fake world of social media. But it's like you have to stay true to what the back end of any small business is. Yeah. Who is serving the ice cream cone? Who is working the bar? Who is working at the cafe? Who was the bar back at a restaurant, owners. You go down 3rd Avenue, who's working there? The owners.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You're not going to ever make it and then be done unless you build your business to build that. But you got to be really smart and have the right people to support you.
Yeah.
I've never been that smart to step out of my business. But I know I have the grit to work and show up every single day, and that will never stop as long as it's mine.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say is be prepared to work and really work, not just like, so I did like a social media post today and like, that's not work. That's just filler.
Yeah.
All this is just filler for the real activities of calling people like, shit, who do I know that needs to get out of their house? Because we had a conversation 6 months ago and it's in my brain like, oh man, they were going to talk about maybe moving in the summer and now we got to, those are the kind of things. That's what sets us apart.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. Cool.
I just want to let you know, we've been talking for an hour and a half. It doesn't even feel like that.
Oh my God. Sorry, everybody. Everyone's like, we got
No. But it doesn't even feel like that. We could keep going. I absolutely love having you as a guest. Thank you so much. We're going to end this now.
Okay.
But I want you to look in this camera. Tell everybody who you are, where they can find you. Let it fly.
Let it fly.
Let it fly.
I'm Genie Irish, founder of Costa Modern Properties. Born and raised South Bay. You can find me at CostaModernProperties.com. Genie Irish Realtor on Instagram. Probably just Genie Irish on Facebook. So shoot me an email, Genie at GenieIrish.com, Genie at CostaModernProperties.com. And you can find me on 3rd Ave with Levi limping.
And if you want her to rap for you, she will.
I will.
Can you send us out with a little truth hurt? Tony,
No.
First off, tell us where everybody can find us.
Well, guys, you guys can find us in YouTube. Go over there, like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. You know what to do. Share it with your friends. You can find us on social media, TikTok. You're going to see Levi doing some dance move. Mm-hmm. You're going to see us on Instagram also. Go follow us on Facebook and download this podcast because it provides awesome information and we had great guests like today.
Yes. Thank you again.
Thank you
for coming on. Tony, everybody, thank you so much. Take us out, buddy. If you can.
Oh my gosh. The first line is the worst.
I don't even know if it's it. This is maybe the real song though.
No, it is.
I told him to.
Because it slows down. That's
that's right.
Can't be great at a discount rate.
Oh, dang, he found you.
HOA docs came in. Turns out I'm 100% on it. Soy loca, yeah, I'm crazy. No appraisal issues, yep. No extra fee. Ring, ring, solve the issue. That's a G in me. You could have had a full service, full committal.
Oh,
I helped
damn.
you with your staging, not just a little. You know I hold it down.
Hey, we gotta do a TikTok to this, dude.
So
100%.
Not up again, your old shop. Can't be great at a discount rate. Call or text me, even if it's past days. Make you more money, that's how much I care. Staging, cleaning, replacing that wear and tear. Drone photos, videos, enticing. New home sales ain't nothing new to me. Truth hurts, make sure you better hire me. North County, all the way to South Bay.
Consultation from the start, yeah, hustle with heart. Bet you thought you had a budget lender approved from the start. So glad you're gonna purchase. Who wanna rent in this climate? I'ma always go above and beyond with my service. Even putting word out on social media. Find